Hey everybody, this is JMPL GT4. I'm about to give you guys my Week 4 predictions for the Big 12. Um, Looks like we got a couple of teams this week who are going to have off weeks. It's going to be their off week. Start off, at the top tomorrow. Kansas State plays UCF. Kansas State 3-0 so far. UCF 2-1. I don't really know what's going to happen in this game. I think Kansas State's going to win. I just don't see them losing this game. I mean, Daniel Thomas has played one hell of a game. I believe he's leading the Big 12 in rushing at the moment, doing a hell of a job up there in Manhattan. I got to give this win to Kansas State for Kansas State versus UCF. Move on to the next game. We got Missouri 3-0 as well, playing Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio is 2-1 with a loss with only one loss to Florida. They beat Eastern Michigan as well as Colorado State. I'd like to say that Missouri should handle them pretty easy, but I'm going to give this one to Missouri as well. I think they've had some issues this last week. A couple of guys got injured or whatever, but overall I think Missouri is going to be pretty strong in this game. They should come out with a win against Miami, Ohio. I believe they're playing. Let's see, where are they playing at? They're playing at home. This is their fourth home game in a row. They're playing against Miami, Ohio. They should win that game as well. Move on to the next game. We got Texas versus UCLA. Before the season started, I predicted UCLA for this game for Texas to be a toss-up game for them. I don't know that I can say that. I don't know that I can say that for UCLA this week. It's kind of they're not very consistent at the moment. They lost by 9 points in the opening week to Kansas State. They got blown out the following week against Stanford, and then they pulled off one hell of an upset last week against Houston, 31-13. They got blown out by 35 points the week before against Stanford. They come back the following week and they end up blowing out Houston, who's notoriously one of the best offenses in the nation, and held them to only 13 points. Their quarterback is out for the year. I believe their backup quarterback got injured as well. So you can chalk it up to injuries and them not having as good of players on the field as they typically do for Houston, or you can just say that UCLA played one hell of a game, and that's what helped them in winning that game and keeping them in the game the whole time. I don't really know. I didn't watch that game, so I can't tell you how their performance was. But I think coming into this game, according to Yahoo Sports Fantasy College Pick'em, they only have Texas as a 13-point favorite, 14 point favorite. That's only 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns is a very manageable spread for any team. Not any team, but for a UCLA team, that should be a manageable point spread that they could go either way. So, I mean, I don't know. I think Texas should win this game. I think the interesting thing about this game is going to be UCLA's rush offense against Texas's rush defense. It's going to be something to look forward to tomorrow in the game. I believe it kicks off at 2. I want to say at 2. I take that back. 2:30. Kicks off at 2:30. That's going to be something to look out for. I'm going to give Texas the win on this one. Do I think they'll cover the spread? No. I never pick Texas to cover the spread because what I've found over the last year and a half doing college pick'em is they never do cover the spread. Just plain and simple. So I'm not picking them in college pick'em. I'm picking UCLA for this one to either win or to at least hold Texas to less than 14 points difference in the game, which, like I said before, I think is pretty manageable for UCLA. Hopefully they'll come on high. I personally want Texas to lose because I'm an Aggie. I despise Texas. So, hope the Bruins come out with a win tomorrow. We'll move on to our next game in Oklahoma and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, for me, has been one disappointing team this year. They had one hell of a team last year. They had Robert Pike, and they're 1-2 this year with losses to North Carolina State and Fresno State. I mean, the key elements that were lost were Robert Pike, obviously, and also Coach Brian Kelly, who moved on to Notre Dame. Who knows if that's the cause of their suckiness this year, but their only win, which was pretty convincing, was against Indiana State, 40-7. Oklahoma came out had one hell of a game last week, if I remember correctly. Oh, actually, I take that back. They played Air Force, and it was a close game, only a 3-point game. Their only convincing win on the season has been Florida State. They beat them by 30 points, and they only beat Utah State by 7 points and Air Force by 3. Now, I got to give Air Force's offense some credit. That triple option threat had Oklahoma confused so bad. They didn't know what in the hell was going on half the time. You got to give Air Force props for staying in the game against an Oklahoma team who is pretty good this year. And it's, a lot of people are saying it's going to come down to Texas and Oklahoma, who's going to be the Big 12 South champion and very possibly the Big 12 champion overall. I got to give Oklahoma the win on this one just because even though they haven't been playing as great a football as probably the Sooners would like to see, Cincinnati's really been stinking it up out there. So, I'm going to give Oklahoma the win on this one. We'll move on to our next game, which is Nebraska versus South Dakota State. I don't really even need to talk about this one that much. Nebraska's been playing phenomenal this season already. Their freshman quarterback, what is his name? Martinez, I believe. He's been playing, amazing football. They're putting up offensive numbers and offensive points that has been, over the last couple of years, has been very uncharacteristic of the Nebraska offense. Talking about 38 in week 2, 49 in week 1, and 56 last week against a Washington team, which isn't too shabby. They're not great, but they're not too shabby either. And they ended up winning that game by 35 points. So, you gotta give props to Nebraska. They're playing their heart out. Out there. I think their real first true test will end up coming in about 2 more weeks, which is going to be the very exciting, very there's a lot of people going to be looking forward to the game against Texas coming in, I believe, 2 weeks. Let me double check that. No, maybe 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. Well, I don't know how many weeks. It was October 16th is when the game is, so we look forward to that coming up. Move on to our next game, which is Kansas versus New Mexico State. New Mexico State is 0-2 on the year. They haven't played really anybody worth mentioning except for UTEP, who stomped them. Kansas, they've been up and down all season. They lose by 3 points to North Dakota State, come back, lose by 5. They end up coming back and beating Georgia Tech by 3 points, which is amazing. Then they lose to Southern Miss last week by 15. I don't really know what to expect from these guys. Southern Miss isn't a shabby team, so I'm going to give Kansas the win on this one. I think they should be able to pull it out. I don't think it'll be a pretty win, but they should be able to close the door on New Mexico State. We'll move on to Iowa State's game against Northern Iowa. It's an in-state rivalry game. I would like to say that Iowa State should probably win this game. Iowa State should win this game. I don't know. I think Austin Arnaud got injured last week. I don't know if he's gonna be back. If he isn't, I don't know really what's gonna happen. But if he is there, they should win. They should win fine without any issues. And then we move on to Baylor and Rice, and Baylor has been talked about this year as a team who could possibly come up, in the Big 12 South and be a contender. They got stomped last week by 35 points by TCU. I've been saying it. I just don't think that Baylor is to that point yet. Do I think they're heading in the right direction? Yeah, I think they're heading that way. But I don't think they're to that level of intensity as a top 5 program, such as TCU, such as a top 10 team such as Texas or Oklahoma. I just don't see it. I don't think they're in that upper echelon yet where they can actually say, oh, we're going to be contenders. They need to come out and win clutch games like that, pre-conference games, whenever they do have a decent game such as TCU. And they need to actually, I'm not saying they necessarily have to win, they at least have to compete though. A 35-point loss to TCU isn't indicative of a team who is on their way to making that mark for their program. So, done talking about last week. They play Rice this week. Rice is 1-2. They lost against Texas. Obviously, they beat North Texas in the Thriller by 1 point. The following week, then they lost to Northwestern last week. I think Baylor should win this game. Baylor should handle Rice. If Robert Griffin plays good, it shouldn't be a big deal for Baylor. So pretty much that's all I got for now, guys. Texas A&M has a bye week, as does Texas Tech, I believe. Let me see how many games there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there must be 4 teams in the Big 12 that have bye weeks this week. I think Colorado, A&M, Texas Tech, and what other one? Oklahoma State have bye weeks this week. So we don't have anything on those guys, but they should all be back next week, and we'll get in on that coverage for next week. I'm about to follow up a video with about A&M's game last week, which was very, very disappointing, but I'll talk about it here in a minute. That's all I got for now. Gig 'em, saw 'em off, lead moon forever. See you later.